In this episode, we interview Laran, Amanda, and Leanne, directors at Purpose Through Passion, a 501c3 nonprofit funding any recreational activity or hobby for those recovering from addiction in the Tampa Bay area. All right, thanks everyone for tuning into this episode. Today we have a full house. We have the squad from Purpose Through Passion, and we're graced by the presence of Laran, Director of Programming and Outreach, Amanda, Director of Operations, and Leanne, Director of Events and Applicant Coordination. Thank you all so much for taking some time during this holiday season to speak with me.
Thank you. We're excited to be here.
Yes. So per usual, we love to start our episodes by asking, what is the mission? So in this case, what is the mission of Purpose Through Passion?
Well, simply put, Purpose Through Passion is trying to spark the flame of self-discovery by doing things that we're passionate about. That was our mission statement that we started with long ago, and I think it still is true today. But we are a 501c3 nonprofit located in the Tampa Bay area, and we help support people in recovery to get involved in activities that they're passionate about, any recreational activity.
Awesome. Well, I'm sure we're going to get deep into this programming that you're mentioning. But before we do, we like to get the why behind the guests in this case. So I'd love to go around the horn and ask why Purpose Through Passion for each of you individually.
Sure. I'll get us started. So Purpose Through Passion was founded 4 years ago by the three of us. We met because we all work for the same corporation. We work for Allstate. We have been blessed by Allstate in several ways. One, by meeting each other, of course. Also, by their support of the community. They do a really great job of supporting the community and giving back to causes that their employees care about. When we met, we also had a friend named Sean Sims. He was a mutual friend that we had. We used to go to yoga with Amanda because Amanda at the time was also teaching yoga. As you can see, we are always busy doing multiple things. None of us has just one role. And so Sean and I used to go to yoga at Amanda's house and hang out. We would do different get-togethers all together. And Sean was pretty open about the fact that he was in recovery. He had had a pretty tough life as a young adult, lost family members that he cared deeply about. And like many people that we have met, he was really struggling with that when he was younger. And like I said, he was just an open book. So he wanted other people to benefit from his story and always kind of talked with people about the fact that he was in recovery. And really, I mean, trying to describe Sean is very difficult because you really just can't capture people like that in a description. Unfortunately, shortly before we started the nonprofit, Sean overdosed and passed away. I also have a younger brother who has struggled on and off with addiction because of similar issues with trauma in his life as a young adult. And so we've kind of started to see the pattern of not necessarily why this happens to everybody, but a general pattern that we've seen through all of the work that we've done. So losing Sean was kind of the last straw for us, especially for me. At that point, I was tired of this disease taking from me and not being able to do anything to help anyone and feeling very helpless. So I got together with Amanda and Leanne, and we started trying to brainstorm around what we could do to make an impact so that other people weren't feeling this amount of pain on a regular basis. So for me, a lot of it was Sean. I think for all of us, Sean was really the catalyst, but each of us had our own thing going on as far as our experiences with people we loved with addiction. So for me, it was my brother, and then for Amanda and Leanne, it was other people, and I'll let them discuss that.
Got it. Thank you. No, that's obviously a very strong origin story. Thanks for sharing that.
So for me, my journey or experience with recovery addiction started a few years prior to Sean's passing. For me, in 2016, my oldest daughter, Marley, her father had passed away from an overdose. And although we weren't together at the time, he was an absolutely phenomenal father and just human being, full of a saint. If there was someone on the street that needed anything, he wouldn't think twice to give the shirt off of his back or the food that he had left over. He was just that type of incredible soul. And Marley absolutely adored him. So when he had passed, it was shocking for me because I never knew that he struggled. Even when we were together for 5 years, I never realized that he was struggling with any type of addiction. He kept it very quiet. And quite honestly, I think it progressed over the years, but it was extremely shocking, devastating when he passed. And, it's affected my daughter, and continues to. So it was really such a tough loss. And then when Sean passed away in 2018, I felt torn. It was just like, enough is enough. Why are we continuing to lose people that we love? And yet we sit here and we just feel so happy. It's this pain and sadness, but no go with it. And I think that's what sort of drove us to, to find a purpose in it and to support those that are currently struggling, need our help. And it's a great way to memorialize the people that weren't able to.
Thank you. Now, I feel like compelled as well to share my experience with addiction. So my parents as well, all similar to you, Leanne, like when I was younger, I really didn't know what obviously addiction was. They were alcoholics. And I think as we started growing up, they realized that the impacts of that addiction. And so they started seeing somebody and going to weekly meetings. And my dad also at that time and still currently, I think, has other addiction, gambling addictions, right? So I think the stats, it's crazy. The stats are, and I forgot where I saw this, but I think 1 in 10 people suffer from some sort of addiction at least. And I think that fluctuates based on location. So I'd love to get into that eventually on this call. But yeah, so as you can see, everyone has some sort of experience or friend or family member, I feel like, that has some sort of addiction. So it's something that should definitely be talked about. And I'd love to hear all the work that you all are doing. It seems straightforward with the title of your organization, but I want to dissect it as much as possible because I think there's definitely something there. And I'd love to hear the organization and how it's evolved over these past couple of years and what are some of the programming that maybe you started with. So after you guys were incepted, programming wise, did you start by just what the title of the organization sounds like, just trying to put people aligned with activities that maybe they could get really excited about? I'd love to hear the beginnings.
Yeah, so we started very small and have maintained a really close relationship with most of our applicants. A lot of what we're passionate about ourselves is making sure that people are seen as individuals and not as numbers. And if anyone watches any of the interviews we do or any of the speaking we do about our organization, you'll hear me say that a lot, but it's because I'm so adamant about making sure that no one feels like they're being shuffled through our system. That's absolutely something we all are very conscious of. We're a wraparound service. So we identify the fact that people have several resources, especially locally in the Tampa Bay area. If anyone out there is looking for any of those resources, please feel free to reach out to us directly. Things like food, shelter, healthcare. We have connections throughout the community. If you're looking for Narcan distribution, we also have a really great resource for that. But what we identified was this gap in services to help people feel like people. So people that we knew who were getting sober, they were telling us they were just sitting around unable to do anything. They've cut out all the people in their life who are toxic, and now they have no friends, and they are sitting with generally no money, unable to do anything. We had people running outside in jeans and regular shoes because they needed to be active and didn't have a way to support themselves in that activity. So we started off by pinpointing and talking to people who were applying for our program about what they wanted to be doing, things that may be financially out of reach. And we started to really dig into those programs and started networking with vendors in our community and different local businesses to provide those resources to our applicants.
Yeah.
Wow. And what were some of those initial activities? Sounds like running was one, like at the very minimum,
Yeah.
right? So like fitness
Yeah.
and active activities.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Amanda, I think Amanda can probably expand on that.
Yeah. So we saw a variety of different activities that people were interested in. And right out of the gates when we started this, it was really interesting to see the different activities people wanted to be involved in. Some of the biggest activities we've seen are yoga, gym memberships, any type of gym membership. We've also seen golf as a big one, scuba diving. Art and music have really been the big as far as the activities that our applicants are interested in getting involved with. The way that our program works is that somebody who is in active recovery can reach out to go onto our website to fill out an application, tell us what they're interested in, maybe giving us 3 different options of things that they're interested in doing. We then conduct a phone interview with them to just really know them on a personal level and understand their needs. And then we match them with one of the 3 options that they're interested in, connecting with the local businesses in our area, and we provide them a scholarship for that activity for up to 3 months. This really allows them to deep into a new activity. It sort of reignites their passion of living again, because like Laran mentioned, when you come out of addiction, there's a huge gap in your life of things that you're unable to do anymore. And oftentimes drugs and alcohol play a massive part in that. So taking that away leaves this void, and to have something that you're excited to wake up every day to do, and you're learning and you're growing. We have just seen such a positive response to that. And nothing makes us happier than seeing applicants come back to us to say, this has made such an impact in our life. Thank you so much. And often it leads to more of that activity for them as they begin to get on their feet and become more stable in their recovery.
Wow. Okay. That's amazing. One of the terms that y'all mentioned was this is a wraparound service. Could you explain what a wraparound service is? Because that's kind of a term that I feel like we don't hear often.
Yeah, so I came across, when I was trying to describe what we did, I came across the term wraparound service, and I was so really just touched by it because it makes so much sense and it really describes what we do. So a wraparound service is essentially a service that is offered that supports people who are receiving other quote unquote essential services like shelter, healthcare, food. So a wraparound service really is the key piece to any kind of recovery or experience that is crucial to the human experience of life. So what we do isn't considered like an essential service, which would be, again, like the food, shelter, healthcare, but a wraparound as in the community is wrapping their arms around you type of service.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you. I'd love to hear some of like the actual impact that you're having. So it sounds like you've had multiple people already go through this program over the past couple of years. What has been some of the feedback? I'm curious as to like if we can measure the power of like purpose in people's lives and the power of finding a passion in people's lives. I feel like it's hard to measure, but
yeah,
initial feedback is probably a good start.
So far, we've had over 300 applicants come through our program.
Oh, wow.
We have a growing wait list. When we first started, because we are funded strictly by donations, we had a waiting list of over 100 people right off the bat, just waiting to go through our program. And we do limit it, like Amanda said, to the 3 months so that we can make sure we get as many people impacted as possible, but also provide that meaningful experience. And the goal has always been that they'll continue whatever membership they're doing and take on that financial responsibility as they start to stabilize and really rebuild their lives. So to date, we've affected over 300 people. We have a current wait list that, like I said, continues to grow, and it happens around times where funding is tight. So everything we do is based on funding, as most nonprofits are. but the impact has been tremendous. And to Leanne's point, we have all said this. And if you watch our videos, a lot of times you'll see us say a lot of the same things because we feel so strongly. And Leanne always will say, if we can just impact one person, that was our goal. Like, just get one person to be impacted positively by what we're doing, and we'll have succeeded. And seeing over 300 people impacted by what we do you're looking at who runs this nonprofit. It's the three of us. We all have full-time jobs. Amanda and I both have children that are young. So, we all have lives outside of this, and we really work hard to get everything we need to accomplish. So to date, we've affected quite a few people, and we hope to continue doing it, especially as we go into 2023.
Yeah. Do people that apply, is it like, are they all suffering from addiction or not necessarily? Because I feel like Purpose Through Passion, that could help people that are going through depression even, right? It's just something that somebody is suffering and needs something to get them up and moving in the morning. So I'm curious if that's like a part of the application process, or how do you determine that?
Yeah. So right now, our focus is those that are actively in recovery from drug and alcohol addiction. And what we find that's interesting is a lot of other mental illnesses are very much tied to addiction. Oftentimes what we see is that the applicants that are coming in have also experienced depression. They've also experienced mental illness along with addiction. So I feel like we are that wraparound service for a lot of different needs. But obviously our focus is recovery from addiction. I think that we have a lot of really exciting plans for 2023 to expand this even further. And it's going to be a ride. We're so excited for what comes. Great ideas.
All right, I feel like you're leading the conversation because the next question is which is totally okay. The next question is, so we talked about the origin story, right, of Purpose Through Passion a couple years back. We talked about what you're doing now, some of the activities, some of the programming. So that's a good transition into the future in 2023 and beyond. So I'd love to hear about, obviously you have a backlog of applicants. So I'm sure that they're like priority one would probably be trying to serve all the current applicants, right? And in the backlog. So I'd love to hear more about the future of Purpose Through Passion.
Yeah. So pushing into 2023, our biggest initiative is servicing the families of those in active recovery, specifically the youth. So my vision has always been for Purpose Through Passion to involve ourselves in those that are at high risk before addiction takes hold. So again, going back to kind of like my origin story, so to speak, a lot of it centered around my younger brother, who I always felt could have had a different life path if things had not gone the way they had for him, or he had intervention earlier. And I always felt really strongly, speaking to Sean, the same way, that if we had been able to intervene, or there was a service that could have intervened before that point, to give the outlet that was creative or active or whatever it is, to show that there's so much more beyond the pain you're feeling right now, we could save people from going down that path. So generationally, addiction is a disease that you will see it kind of repeats itself over and over. So you'll see the parent or parental figure suffer from addiction, and then the younger generations continue that cycle. Our goal for 2023 is to step in and break that cycle and really start to make a difference before the addiction takes place. So what we're planning on doing by partnering with local businesses is we are funding a youth program that'll take place during weeknights when the parental figure is at a recovery meeting. Instead of having the children either sitting outside waiting or with a babysitter parked in front of a TV, having the older siblings responsible for the younger siblings, which often is the case, we are going to be providing basically what we do for the adults, but as like a compressed child care model. We have another local nonprofit, Recovery Epicenter Foundation, who has been an amazing partner, who's partnering with us on this initiative. We're also partnered with a couple of the local businesses here in the St. Petersburg, Florida area. Vertical Ventures is one of our key partners. So what will happen is during those meeting times, the parent will be able to drop the child off at an indoor climbing facility. They'll be able to climb for a couple hours while the parent does their healing, and then they'll pick the child back up. So that allows the kids to start bonding together. It will provide mentorship through that program, as well as camaraderie, and it really helps to start healing the family unit from addiction. Because, like Leanne and Amanda have both said, addiction doesn't just affect the person going through it; it really affects the kids and the family. Anyone who loves that person are heavily impacted. So, 2023, our initiative is really to target those youth groups, get them into activities they love to do, really start to see that change, the break in the generational cycle of addiction, and support the family unit as a whole.
What was there a specific event that led you all to want to have that be the next kind of evolution and the next project that you guys are doing? I was wondering if there's a specific instance. Or not.
I honestly, it goes back to what Lauren said, that we just from our own personal experience can understand that I think addiction can happen long before we even problem in our youth. We can experience it through our parents or our different relatives, and we see that struggle, and subconsciously we follow those patterns, and to bring that, we feel like that happens at such a young age. So to start the healing at the young age would just be such a huge impact to the community. Oftentimes, and we've found areas of our community that are underserved, and that means that the youth is underserved as well. So we know that we've already begun our focus many years ago to target adults who are currently and actively in recovery. But again, what about their family unit? What about their children? Because it impacts the entire family. And I think that from our personal experience, we've the impacts of people that have, been in the throes of addiction. So it was a missing piece that Lauren originally felt so passionate about, and then obviously Leanne and I equally do. It's once we started to see that vision take shape of what this youth program could look like, it was just like, yes, this makes perfect sense. We are targeting the entire family unit. How amazing is that?
Helping people who are
and that obviously goes in addition to
supporting them and making sure they understand. We're here for you. Everyone gets a renewed chance at life. It doesn't matter if you're day one sober, hour one sober. We believe in you, and we really know that you can keep the life that you want. You won't always suffer from this. You can, we have full faith. But to see what it does to the families is just so excruciating, that I think for me personally, and being really passionate about the outreach and the continuous growth of the organization, it was just the personal things I've been going through this year that have made me revisit and say, we just have to start a new initiative. We need to start working on getting these kids to where they need to be beforehand.
Yeah. Wow. No, that's great. When does that kick off?
So, go ahead, Amanda.
No.
So our goal is to kick off at the beginning of the year, likely around February. We are crowdfunding for that. So if you're moved by what we do, or anyone out there is moved by what we do and are willing to help us, we need all the help we can get. We're constantly applying for grants. It comes down to funding. There is no shortage of hard work on our side or passion on our side, or people needing this service. I mean, like I said, the wait list is there, the demand is there. It all comes down to funding, which again, I know a lot of nonprofits struggle with. But we're getting there step by step. So we did a Giving Tuesday campaign, and we'd really like to kick it off by February.
Yeah. Wow. Well, that's also a good transition. If people want to get engaged, sounds like fundraising, that's very key to you guys' ongoing work that you're doing. How else could people get engaged if they want to get engaged?
That is a great question. And Leanne also very passionate about the donation partnerships and just community outreach. But we have opportunity. Obviously, like Lauren mentioned, funding is something that allows us to keep moving forward. And without it, we can't. We have been so blessed to recognize our community. The Tampa Bay community is absolutely phenomenal. From the moment we started this organization, truly because of the community that we're able to do this. We have seen multiple anonymous donations come in from people in our community that believe in what we're doing. And when that, we can't tell you how much that warms our heart to see that people believe in our mission, to see that people believe in us and are just willingly able to help us. Without that, would not exist. We would not be able to continue forward. Funding is the most important thing, along with our hard work, that makes this happen. So we are just so grateful, and we are continuing to, connect with the community, say, we need your help. We really do. We can't do it without you. So we're hopeful that we'll continue to ship in 2023. But we do have some other opportunities for people to get involved, just word of mouth or volunteering. And we've had some different events that people were able to connect like that.
Yeah. And partnerships, that's a huge part for us, right? So we have a key tag program, which is for all of our applicants who have gone through our program successfully and completed their 3-month scholarship. Our key tag program allows them to visit local businesses and receive a percentage off of the different services they may offer. So if someone had a scholarship with us for scuba diving, but now they want to try yoga, they can go to the Body Electric Yoga Company and receive a discount there because they've gone through our program and the Body Electric has partnered with us. We've also had several businesses who offer their services at a discounted rate for us for the initial 3-month scholarship. Vertical Ventures, which is the indoor climbing facility, is offering us a discount for our youth program. So that's a huge way that businesses can give back to us. If you're a local business, you want to partner with us and offer either ourselves or our applicants a discount, that makes a huge impact. And then you're not coming out of pocket. That's one of the biggest ways to give back in a non-monetary way.
Right. Wow. Well, it sounds like you all have social media. Where can people find you if they want to learn more?
Yeah, so we're on Instagram, we're on Facebook. We also have a website, which is www.purposethroughpassion.com. You can find out all of the information about what we're doing, our various programs, our application, if you want to see what that looks like, all on our website. We also offer direct funding. So if you have a loved one you think would be great for our program and you would like to fund their scholarship directly, even anonymously, you have that option as well. Just contact us through the website. We're happy to help there. We're pretty much across all platforms. So check us out.
Awesome. Well, I always end our interviews with asking everyone, is there anything you want to leave us with that maybe we didn't cover, or any like truth bombs you want to drop, or anything specific that comes to mind? I'd love to hear it, and we could go around the horn again if that's all right.
Kick us off, Lauren.
Okay. I was going to say, Leanne, kick us off. Okay. I don't have any truth bombs. I would just say that hopefully you're moved by what we do. I would, you mentioned 1 out of 10 people suffer from addiction. The number of people we meet whose life has been impacted by addiction because they loved someone in addiction is very telling about the state of the nation in regards to what we're going through with this epidemic. Addiction in and of itself is a huge problem, and it is a huge epidemic. I would say, as a mother and somebody who has gone through watching people I love suffer from this, stay very vigilant with your children, keep open lines of communication, talk about it. We've come a long way from DARE, but that sentiment is still very, very true. And now, unfortunately, it's a lot easier for kids to access things that are extremely deadly. I just want to blab all the things that I'm thinking of that are cautionary tales. Fentanyl is a huge problem right now across the country, and it's killing people. It's killing kids who have no idea what they're taking. We are long past the days of hippies who are able to try stuff out, experiment, and survive. our kids are dying. So I would really encourage you to, as a human being and as a parent, and if you love anyone in this world who could potentially be exposed to it, have the conversations. If you're moved by what we do and you want to help somebody in a way that you know is going to be productive, please consider donating to us. If you're a business that you think you could somehow impact us with your services, reach out. We're always here to chat, and we appreciate everything that everyone has done to help us to this point.
Awesome.
I echo all of that. To me, I think something heavy on my mind recently, and it stemmed from some of the conversation that I've had with my daughter, Marley. The stigma behind addiction is very much still a thing. No matter how many people are impacted, there is still a very negative stigma associated with addiction and the type of people that are impacted by addiction, which couldn't be farther from the truth. And the other day, I had a couple of conversations recently with Marley. She broke down in tears, and she explained that when talking to her friends, she felt fearful of explaining the reason why her father had passed because of the stigma that's associated with it. And it pains her. She knows deep down that he was so much more than his demise. There was so much more to him than addiction. His spirit, his incredible talents, and just the type of father and the type of love that he gave. He was an incredible human being. There are incredible human beings that are affected by addiction. People in addiction are incredible people, and they're just like you and me. So really breaking that stigma is so important to me, because looking through my daughter's eyes and seeing the pain that's associated with that really brings to light how relevant. So definitely hopeful that we can really get past the stigma of addiction and just continue to support the people that need our help.
Awesome. Well, Laran, Amanda, Leanne, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate you giving me some of your time and sharing your story with Purpose Through Passion. And of course, we at GTZP wish you all the best of luck, and we're honored to share the work that you're doing, and hopefully we'll drive some awareness, education, and engagement, which are our three pillars and why we're around. So again, really appreciate your time, and thank you all so much for spending it with me.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning into this episode. If you know of a great organization or individual leaving a positive impact, we'd love to tell their story. Check us out and contact us at gtzp.org. Don't forget, for more stories like this, you could also follow us on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Instagram followers are link trees in the bio. And for podcast listeners, we're on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Thanks for listening, and see you again soon.